What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Uber Trippy, and today we're gonna be watching a video by your boys Abba and Preach. But today it looks like it's just Abba, and the video says, let me just scroll down. The most insane trial just ended. Full recap. Young Thug, let's go! Young Thug is free. I at least I hope so. I think that's what that means, right? I'm pretty sure he's free, right? Right. Let's hope and pray, because I'm trying to get some more of that music. I was just listening to that one song, Light It Up, Light It Up, Light It Up. That song goes crazy. But yeah, let's get into the video.
State just ends up looking so stupid, because now Jeffrey Williams, Young Thug, walks free today.
Let's
He's just
go!
on probation.
My boy Young Thug is
25
free!
to 40 years
Let's
in
go!
jail. This is the longest
I can't wait to
court
listen
case
to all the new
in
music,
Georgia's
bro. It's about to
history.
go
The
ham.
most expensive ever, costing tens of millions of taxpayer money, and they got this guy on probation.
And I really don't want to believe that it is purposeful, but honestly, after a certain number of times, you start to wonder how it could be anything but that, unless it is just that you are so unorganized that you are throwing this case together as you try.
She said you're throwing.
All right, today's topic,
You're
most
throwing the
insane
match.
court case I have ever witnessed.
She's like, we need to lock him up, and you guys are throwing.
Prominent rappers in the game, Young Thug, has just been released on
Locked
probation.
up.
Now, you might be thinking, why do we care?
Won't
Because
let
this trial, I've been following it. It is the longest trial that Georgia has ever seen. It is a RICO trial, basically a racketeering trial against a gang. And Young Thug and the gang were facing 45 to life in prison.
45 to life?
For potential
Yeah, we would have
murders,
never gotten a single Young Thug song
charge, everything you could
for
imagine.
that minute.
So why is this interesting? I'm telling you guys, this trial was so insane, and it was being live.
Oh, I've not been paying attention.
They're gonna make Netflix series about this.
Everyone's been so focused on Diddy.
This had multiple judges thrown off the case. This had drugs being passed to people inside a court, caught on camera.
The Young Thug RICO case has taken by most accounts an unusual twist. An alleged drug deal in open court. Prosecutors say they have the video to prove it.
Yeah.
This had corruption at the highest level, and it just ended in the most insane way. Where to start?
I'm being that's crazy, Andy. I'm not trying to be that guy.
Incredibly corrupt.
I'm trying to give some actual commentary. That's just my genuine reaction.
The election, and there's a lot of things surrounding her and how poorly she runs her stuff.
The allegations stem largely from a contentious divorce involving a key prosecutor in the Trump election interference case. Nathan Wade's estranged wife accused him of having an affair with DA Fani Willis, while at the same time, Willis paying him $650,000 so far to run
just give that money to me. I'll do a better job.
Racketeering investigation.
Actually, I think she's already been.
I'll get that boy locked up.
Affair, if I remember correctly.
Actually, I don't know if that's the defense or if that's the prosecutor.
She wanted to get this case out of the way because it's been running for over 2 years. Which,
just kidding.
When
Let's
you get
go,
a jury in, and you were normally most trials you're looking at anywhere
makes me
from
happy,
like
brings me joy
to like 2-3 months. This is 2 years. So let's go back.
2 years?
Jury's
That's how long?
We figure this stuff out.
Dang.
We got the first judge.
Honestly, time went by so fast. Like, it feels like that happened like not that long ago. Like 2 years. You're telling me, okay, so I'm 20. Like, you're telling me I waited like, that's insane. Yeah, since 2022 is crazy.
Who is Euro Granville, and from the onset of the case.
And you're telling me it was so disorganized, and yet they still were able to detain him for 2 years, 2 entire whole years. Nah, that's
super confusing,
that's
and the
foul.
judge is not
That's
controlling it. The defense and the prosecution
corruption
are going after
right
each
there.
other, accusing each other.
This shows the system ain't working.
If you were just a third-party observer watching live stream and this is your first time seeing anything in court, you were like, "Oh, we're in a third world country." That's how crazy things were. Then you have one incident.
Damn, that's a third world country.
That's
what I'm saying. Like this whole nation is like a whole.
This trial got international.
This whole nation's become like the movie Idiocracy. Like no one knows what they're doing. Everyone's just like getting through life, like stumbling through life. Like it's hilarious, honestly.
It became a big deal was when the prosecution and the judge decided to have an ex parte meeting in their chambers with a sworn-in witness. Okay, now this witness, for context, was a key witness for the state. They did not want to testify. They wanted to plead the fifth, which meant they didn't want to incriminate their stuff. They didn't want to talk. And they were now going into the judge's chamber with the prosecution without the defense's knowledge. The defense ends up finding out about it. And what they're alleging they've learned about the meeting is that essentially, 1, it was improper. 2, they were trying to coerce the witness into testifying. 3, the judge was in helping the prosecution to make this shit happen. So they go into open court and Brian Steele calls out the judge in front of everybody. The judge loses it.
And what I found out just recently.
Whoa, I didn't really catch that last bit.
The prosecution without the defense's knowledge. The defense ends up finding out about it. And what they're alleging they've learned about the meeting is that essentially, 1, it was improper. 2, they were trying to coerce the witness into testifying. 3, the judge was in helping the prosecution to make this shit happen.
Damn.
So they go into open court and Brian Steele calls out the judge in front of everybody. The judge loses it.
Calls.
And what I found out
he calls out the judge.
Not waived. Is that supposedly on recorded times, district attorney or district attorneys from the DA's office, as well as investigators, sheriff deputies, Mr. Copeland and his counsel met together. None of the defense team, to my knowledge, was aware that this was going on. It was told, based upon information belief, that it was told to the district attorneys that Mr. Copeland intended to plead the Fifth Amendment. To me, that never...
Mr. Steele, can I interrupt you for just a second? I'm kind of disturbed because...
He's disturbed.
All that was an ex parte conversation. How did you find out about any of that?
Well, I'm disturbed too. And the reason
I'm asking you a question.
How
did you find out about
it?
Well, listen, if you don't tell me
see
how you
the judges.
You and I are going to have some problems.
This is a black judge too. Like, why would he be conspiring against another brother? Like, what? This just the layers that are just this is insane.
Problems right now.
Okay, I know. Look, I don't want to know about your problems. Okay, at this point in time.
How about Mr. Copeland, who supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said, actually, all of the defendants and then all 26 people are disposed of. If that's true, what this is coercion, witness intimidation, ex parte communications that we have a constitutional right to be present for. So I understand that you're upset towards me, but I don't know what I
mess with our constitutional rights.
How did you come upon this information? Who told you?
What I want to know is
so it matters how he got the information. It doesn't matter that he knows information. It's like, bro, you're called out, bro. Like, why do you want to know how you got this information? This guy wants to know because he wants to punish that person, like that let the information out, most likely, and that is corruption at the highest level. Like, what? Come on.
Sir, I'm going to hold you
at the judge's level. Insane.
Tell me who this information was coming from.
I don't want to be held in contempt. Well, I'm not answering that question.
I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me,
you don't have to.
If you don't tell me,
yeah, you don't have to. It's our First Amendment right.
I'm going to put you in
tyrannical judges.
He jails the lawyer for
one
of the defense. Then
the lawyer for doing his job,
which is like the Association for Lawyers in Atlanta, find out. They all show up at the courthouse.
Mr. Steele, I am going to hold you still hold you in summary criminal contempt.
Not the decision many in the courtroom were expecting.
I was surprised by a couple things. First, that the judge held him in contempt.
About a dozen defense
attorneys
how are you gonna
hold him
in
just because he knows?
Steele, who's representing rapper Young Thug in his criminal racketeering case.
Anytime a member or criminal defense lawyer is making a motion in good faith and they're being shut down by the judge and threatened with jail, that's scary.
That's terrifying. I didn't even know a lawyer could even like go through something like that. Like, oh my goodness, if I was a lawyer and I had to go through this, you got a lot of balls. You got to be really ballsy. You got to be really courageous to do this. Yeah, no, props to that man. That man's probably doing this for a long time. You definitely want to get an older lawyer because the more mature they are and the more wise they are. They have a lot of wisdom, and this man seems to have a lot of wisdom.
by Judge Ural Glanville.
The judge was having ex parte communications with the district attorney and a witness. That means he was talking to the district attorney and the witness without anyone from the defense being present.
Wow.
And that is generally considered improper. So Mr. Steele found out about that.
Yeah,
he made a motion for a mistrial.
Are you gonna be like, okay, so what happened?
That Mr. Steele reveal that source.
Great.
Steele's punishment.
I'll rule in your favor.
I'm going to order that you be taken into custody, incarcerated at the Fulton County Jail for no more than 20 days for this contempt. Those 20 days consisting of every weekend for the next 10 weekends.
With criminals that...
You know, anytime you walk out of court with your client, that is a good thing. And I do think that the appellate courts will take interest in this and will probably be able to overturn it.
But they decide to get this judge recused, which basically means the judge is not impartial.
A lot of weirdos.
He cannot be the judge for this case. That's what they claim. And it ends up being approved, not for the ex parte meeting, but because the judge was arguing with the defense when if someone's saying you're impartial, you have to fire it off to another judge to determine. Like, if you're accused of being biased, you can't be the sole determiner of whether or not you're biased. So they fire it off to another judge. That judge makes a determination.
We have breaking news in the YSL trial. Fulton County
breaking news. I like it when he says the YSL
has been removed from this case.
Yeah, remove his ass.
And they're like, okay, trial's on hold. We got to get a second judge.
The
next judge comes in.
I heard about that. I heard about they needed another judge, but I never knew why. I was like, yeah, why do they need a judge? But watching this footage, it's very clear to see why.
And then she's like, I can't take this case. I think, don't quote me on this, I think one of my officers ended up one of the defendants, which is like, what the fuck is happening? So she gets removed off the case.
Breaking news right now in the YSL RICO trial involving Atlanta rapper Young Thug. And less than 24 hours after replacing the original judge, the newly appointed judge has recused herself. Judge Shakura Ingram was randomly selected to lead the trial after the former judge Ural Glanville was removed yesterday. Ingram says she is removing herself from the case due to a prior professional relationship with a deputy involved in the case.
So then there's a third person that's get put on, and that's where we are with Judge Whitaker.
New at 4, a newly appointed judge took the bench today in the Young Thug RICO trial. Judge Paige Whitaker is the third judge assigned to the lengthy court case.
Third judge is crazy.
Like, yo, this is a mess. You guys have been going for a year. You have no idea how to litigate this. She's yelling at this state a bunch of times.
Yeah, finally we get like a Judge Judy type of judge.
Being,
that's what we needed. We need a Judge Judy.
Repeatedly throughout the time that she oversaw the case, she kept scolding the state, saying, "You guys are disorganized. How is this?"
Yeah, I would scold the state too. Because you're supposed to serve and protect the people, even if they are criminals. Like, come on.
That needs to be the absolute last time that you don't have enough witnesses to carry us at least until 5. And if it happens again and there is something less than...
The state is just so incompetent. Like, you just see so many workers that just coast on by. I mean, there are a lot of hard workers, but like, come on. Like, how do you not feel shame knowing that you're taking like taxpayer resources and you're just being dumb? And I don't know.
An earthquake, an 8-car pileup, somebody died, 3 people died, and so none of the witnesses were available. Yeah. I may just say you can't have that witness, because at this point in this incredibly long trial, to have to end at 4:25 is not a good use of anybody's time. Do you understand?
I do.
All right.
Your Honor.
And so I said to you, is any of it hearsay? Is any of it being offered for the truth? And you said no. And then you turned around, you drew the witness's attention to the phone number and tried to have the witness testify to whose phone number it was. If that is not offered for the truth, what is it? I mean, I can't figure out what is it. If it's disingenuous, if it is that...
Bro, what is she wearing? What in the banana dress? Or what in the banana suit?
Malign.
Looking like a minion.
The prosecutor standing in front of her right now. So I'm not going to say the possible things that it could be. But it is baffling to me.
I like this lady's hair. This lady's hair goes hard.
Number of years of experience that you have.
I like the silver. When I was Luffy for this Halloween, I put some silver spray to look like I was a Gear 5 Luffy.
Purposefully hide the ball.
They didn't have white hairspray. They only had the silver.
For as long
Looks close
as
enough.
you possibly can. And I really don't want to believe that it is purposeful, But honestly, after a certain number of times, you start to wonder how it could be anything but that, unless it is just that you are so unorganized that you are throwing this case together as you try it.
Throwing it.
And I am sorry to say that, but this case
I'm not sorry to hear that.
Much more difficult for
music
everybody
to my ears. Scold that banana minion.
Because of the haphazard way in which it is being presented.
And you have to keep in mind, the case is trying to prove a conspiracy, but everything is confusing. All the witnesses are either non-cooperative or not very useful, and there's just... It's a big web, but you have
never
no idea
cooperate
how it
with the feds.
You can imagine the judge
you only lose. You only
arrest,
incriminate yourself.
The defense was
pretty
constantly
much.
asking for a mistrial. These people don't know what they're doing. They're trying to goad us into a mistrial. They're breaking the rules of evidence. The judge denies all the mistrials with prejudice. If I could tell you guys just how much craziness happened in this case, there was one detective who came up, and basically he's an expert in testifying in these cases, but he did something you weren't supposed to. He mentioned the fact that one of the defendants had a criminal history. Now, you might not understand, but you cannot use someone's past criminal acts, generally speaking, as character evidence in a case, because it biases the jury to think that person's always going to be a criminal. And that's not how you should be judged solely on the merit of
that makes sense. I never knew that personally.
So this officer did that, and he got thrown off.
Dang,
the case.
if that's the case, then it doesn't even matter if then it doesn't even matter if you've never committed a crime. Then if they don't take that into account, I'm pretty sure they do take that into account if you're someone who doesn't have a criminal record whatsoever. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they do take that into account.
The judge said no, he's out. He can't come back. The state was upset, but now we get to
the
most recent incident, which
we
led
learned
to this trial
something.
pretty much ending. There's a witness that comes up, and he's basically snitching on everyone. Says, yes, it's a gang. Okay, he's admitting that as part of his plea, so he doesn't go to jail. He's admitting everything is a gang, and they're asking him to read Instagram posts.
I wonder who that was.
And the defense objects, and they said, "Hey, this is going to prejudice my client." Redacted. The state agrees. So they take the same exhibit, they hand it to the witness. All right, and then they ask the witness to read off the exhibit. The witness reads through the post, then he reads through the hashtags, and one of the hashtags is the one that they objected to already, the defense, and the state agreed to redact. But on the exhibit that they gave to the witness, they never redacted it. So this guy starts reading, and she goes, keep reading. The guy keeps reading, and now we get to the part, and then she tells him, yeah, read that part too. And he reads it. Immediately the defense loses it. Objections come up. They ask for a mistrial. The judge screams at the state. And she says
they don't even know their own rules.
Highly inappropriate. She essentially says.
And then is there a hashtag?
Hashtag no slime left behind.
No slime left behind.
2 B's. Life size.
Okay.
Ain't none more compatible than a trench, a carbon, or on the trenches.
Is there another hashtag on the screen?
Oh no.
Your Honor.
It's in this paper
Your
right
Honor.
here. You got me reading.
Your Honor, I have to make a motion. Your Honor, we're making a motion.
It's on this paper you're making me read.
I don't honestly really care what the poster was referencing.
Oh,
What I'm
it's the
trying to do
banana lady
is
too.
fix your
Wait, no,
sloppiness
this is not the banana. Wait, is it? I don't even know.
so that everybody won't have wasted, 10,
No,
12
this is just the lady with the
months
nice
of their
hair.
lives in this trial.
That's not a judge's job. A job should be impartial. But you can see that she's
Yeah,
seeing how much
impartial.
time. I don't want everyone's time.
You gotta
the
see
jury's
if he
time
actually
to be
committed the
wasted
crime. You gotta
because
prove
guys
it. You
don't
gotta
know
have
how
the
to run your case.
evidence. Come on,
The defense asked for
man.
mistrial with prejudice, and just to make the distinction, with prejudice means that the state cannot retry the case. Without prejudice means that the state can retry it. So the judge's like, I'm not going to give you guys a mistrial with prejudice, but I will give you one without prejudice.
So I'm going to deny a motion for a mistrial with prejudice. That one, I don't believe that the facts bear out. Would you like a mistrial without prejudice?
Yes.
You would? Who else would?
And then
That means, of
that's when
course,
everyone
that the
realized
state
it
would be
didn't change.
free to
'Cause up
try
until now, she
every
refused
one of y'all
mistrials
again.
at all.
Wait, what the heck? Why is the audio going over him?
But now she was saying, I will end this case if that's what you guys really want. And I think this was her way of saying, guys, come to some plea agreements because I'm almost done with these people. And the state sees this too. Court is adjourned. About 5 to 6 days go by. Everyone's negotiating. The defendants are negotiating with the prosecutors. To make you guys understand how crazy this is, 2 of the defendants that were being charged with murder, multiple murders, and life sentences, they were given 8 years with time served. They're
8 years? That's not that long at all.
Most. So they're going to be out of jail in a few years.
Yeah.
That's how incompetent they were. And that's the kind of deals they had to come down to.
Oh, they're letting demons out in the street in the future.
Multiple life sentences potentially. And they were getting off with 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5, even less than 8?
So those defendants end up getting off. And then we come to Young Thug, which was today. Young Thug was also facing 25 years to wherever else.
45.
They go through deliberations, and this is where the state is really disgusting. Even in their closing argument, they're doing what's called a non-negotiated plea deal. And what that means is the state and the defense haven't come to terms on a set amount of years to give the person who's getting the plea deal.
They can't even agree.
They're going to leave it up to the judge. The state gets to make their case for why they think the person should get a bunch of years. The defense gets to make their case, but essentially the plaintiff is now making an admission to some of the charges, saying, I'm guilty of some of this. Judge, I leave it in your hands. How much time do you think I should serve? The state goes up and they start chatting nonsense about why this person deserves 25 years. They start mentioning rap lyrics of, oh, this person said this and this person said that.
This person said this, that. They used their First Amendment right. What?
Lyrics such as the following: I rep my life for real. For slimes, you know I kill. I'm in the VIP. I got the pistol on my hip. Fuck the police. You praying that you live. I'm praying that I hit. This is slime shit. 100 rounds in a Tahoe. I'm prepared to take them down. Got banana clips.
But then when you
banana clips, like the banana lady, you know, she be having the banana clips on her.
They were lyrics that other people, Nicki Minaj and other artists that sang, or other people had written. And so they were trying to attribute to him some level of guilt. They also were using lyrics and claiming these were about gang-related activities and specific murders. But in reality, these lyrics were written before the murders ever happened. The defense attorney, Brian Steele, on retort ends up bringing up a lot of this stuff. He kind of explains how they're misrepresenting a lot of the evidence in their closing statements.
Bro, that's honestly just kind of racist, because you're like, oh, let's just take any song from him and it'll probably be like it'll probably be connected. Like they just picked a random ass song. We're like, oh, look at the lyrics in this song. Look how violent it is. It's like, bro, so dumb. Do your research. I could have found that out. I could have been like, oh, so these people were murdered on this date and this song came out at this, like, anyone with 5 minutes of research could have found that out. That's crazy.
No idea when these lyrics were made. Some of them were made before the shooting of Donovan Thomas that the state is saying this applies to the Donovan Thomas killing with the Tahoe. They are so far afield of where we need to be when we are trying to, God forbid, take somebody's liberty, Your Honor. The state
look at these pudgy
things like F the judge and I rep my life for real. That's not even said by Mr. Williams. But they don't care to find out. They are on a tunnel vision to try to convict a man.
Then he brings up the most important key that I think changed everything. He tells the judge, when we were negotiating with the state, originally they were going to give him probation as long as he testified and he admitted that he was the leader of the gang and that he admitted that he did a lot of this stuff.
Dang!
Young Thug refused. He said, I'm not going to admit I was the leader of a gang because I wasn't, and I'm not going to admit to...
But the state offered him 15 years on probation.
15 years?
But they keep piling on these conditions. He just said, he made up his mind. He said, I'm just going to go with it. I got to get home. Judge may not let me home, but I'm not doing these conditions and admit that I'm the leader and I'm involved in...
So then they're like, fine, then we want you to spend 25 years in prison. And he's like,
it's his right to not admit that. It's his right to stay silent. It's his right to use his Fifth Amendment right.
Going to jail for 25 years.
I don't know why I put 2 hands up.
And the judge took note of that.
All right. So it is not lost on the court that the state, had they been able to come to agreement on certain special conditions, was willing to entirely dismiss the RICO count, was willing to entirely dismiss one of the gang counts, and was willing to entirely dismiss this, machine gun count. Was willing to give a sentence that permitted Mr. Williams to walk out of the door today.
Yo, let's
and
go.
Therefore, does not seem to be particularly worried that Mr. Williams, if on the streets, would be a danger to society. I'm taking that into consideration and crafting my sentence.
The state just ends up looking so fucking stupid.
So dumb.
Now Jeffrey Williams, Young Thug, walks free today.
Let's
just on probation,
go.
and he was facing.
You must have posted on like Insta on some sort of social. I gotta like that post.
In Georgia's history, the most expensive ever.
Most expensive and dumbest, bro. It's Georgia. I'm not surprised, bro.
On fucking probation.
The South is so dumb, bro. Georgia, Alabama,
and
bro. All those states,
the truth
bro.
Of the matter is,
just kidding. To all my Georgia, Alabama fans,
they were
you guys are watching. I'm just joking.
The defense was winning the case.
Your guys' government is dumb, not you guys.
The defendants had already been in jail for multiple years now, waiting for this trial to end. They had no bond, they weren't seeing their friends and family, and they were just stuck in a prison cell, and they were tired. They just wanted this to end. So Thug took a chance, and honestly, in my head, I don't think he should have taken it, but I'm not him. I can understand why he did.
Took a chance, and it worked
I just think
out.
He was gambling a lot more than I would have been comfortable with, but I understand it. The courts really are sometimes a bit of a circus in some places.
That's a huge circus. Like, you would think that'd be unethical. You would think a court would have like the utmost professional, like to the T, like the most professional place you could ever be. But like, there's corporations, there's businesses, there's places that are way more professional than this court could ever hope in being. So,
it's attorney's office. The way that they ran this case, the way that they engaged in conversation with people. And I think the judge was also wrong for not granting a mistrial with prejudice, because the state had made so many like disgusting mistakes, and they always said, well, the judge would say, I'm not granting it with prejudice because I don't think this was on purpose. It was a mistake. I think
it definitely was. She literally said this happened too many times to where she had to think if it was like not a mistake, where like they were purposely doing it. Wow. See, even when they admit their own faults, they still won't throw you a bone, bro.
What's on the line? Should you not grant the mistrial with prejudice because a certain pattern of repeated mistakes?
Yeah, repeated. It didn't just happen once.
People don't have the aptitude to
decide
happened
whether
once,
or not, or to then okay, but it's happened multiple times.
Or these men, it's a group of people. So I was hooked on this case. I was watching it for a very long time, and it like. If you see people plead, if you see some people with felony convictions, sometimes the courts will just railroad you. These people were so hot and heavy to get Young Thug that they were letting murderers go. They were letting other kinds of criminals go. But they wanted the big name so bad, they didn't care who they let out in the streets.
Just because he's a rapper, but like, who did Young Thug like kill? Did Young Thug kill anybody? Like, geez, look at this screenshot. This screenshot is crazy.
Every unethical thing possible to make sure it happened. And when you see that kind of court case unfold, it's hard not to look at the justice system and say, my faith is shaken.
Hell shaking.
It's hard to look at.
My faith in literally anything in the legal system, like in the political system. Both of those systems are they're clown fest. So you can see them like I think all the Gen Zers and all the Americans, I think a lot of Americans started to wake up and realize like, yeah, this is a whole circus, this is a whole clown fest. But like, what are we supposed to do? This is our system that we have to live through. So I don't know. This is another crazy screenshot.
I'm not gonna say I had that much faith to begin with, but yeah,
I didn't really have too much faith either.
The way that they ran their show, the fact that this was live
streamed, so you gotta stay away from jail. Don't commit crime. Stay away from the court.
Maybe y'all don't care, maybe you do, but I just wanted to talk about this because
Young Thug is free.
By this case,
Let's go.
I just couldn't believe that this case was more absurd than any form of television I'd seen when it came to
my slime. That's my slime.
No drama, No amount of Tom Cruise yelling in a military court could overcome the insanity of things I saw in this trial. And it's real life. You get the wrong judge, you get the wrong fucking court case, you get the wrong prosecutor.
I wonder how Young Thug and Gunna, like, I wonder how their relationship's gonna be. I hope it's gonna be okay. I hope they like are chill and cool with each other, because didn't like Lil Baby and Gunna kind of have some sort of beef or something like that? I don't really know, but I personally like Gunna, so I hope they are able to, you know, make up and make some music, because Gunna and Young Thug, they went crazy. They go crazy together.
And they could just decide to railroad you and put you behind bars for life just because of ego, or they want to be
ego,
or whatever looks good just in the papers.
Because they think it's an accomplishment. They're like, oh yeah, look at we put away the biggest rapper like name, like head of this gang, blah 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 blah. Like, that's crazy. But if you guys like that YouTube video, if you guys like my reaction, please be sure to subscribe. Be sure to comment whatever you want to comment that you noticed. Comment anything you want. Comment something funny that you noticed. Or if you stayed to the end, comment Joe Mama. Just that's it. Just Joe Mama. Just comment that. But yeah, be sure to, like I said, subscribe. Be sure to like the video. Be sure to comment. And yeah, it's been your boy Uber Trippy, and I'm out.